What if I told you that losing everything might be the only honest moment you've ever lived? You didn't plan for this. You built, you fought, you held it all together, and then, without warning, it slipped through your hands. The job, the relationship, the version of yourself you spent years trying to protect, gone. Now you wake up, and there's no one to perform for, no role to play, no mask to wear, just silence. And the question no man ever wants to ask, who am I without all that? This video won't give you hope. It'll give you something far more dangerous. Truth. Because when the world falls apart, what remains is you. And that might just be the beginning. There's no script for the moment your life stops making sense. No warning label that says, tomorrow the ground beneath your feet will vanish. One day you wake up, and the silence hits different. Not the peaceful kind, the kind that follows. A collapse. At first you try to fight it, you check your phone, you open the laptop. You scroll, you distract, you pretend. But the truth is louder than all your noise. It's gone. The position you held, the woman you loved, the identity you clung to like armor. Now you're just a man, stripped of title, routine, and illusion. And that's where the fear creeps in. Because if everything is gone, then what's left? You look in the mirror, and for a second, you don't recognize him. He's not the provider, not the achiever, not the protector. He's just there, worn, tired, bare. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." This isn't punishment, it's friction. And you're the gem beneath the dust. The day everything fell apart wasn't the worst day of your life. It was the first day it finally got real. From the time we were boys, we were taught the rules. Study hard, work harder, climb the ladder, build the life, provide, protect, never complain. Success was the story, and control was the promise. If you do everything right, nothing will go wrong. But no one talks about the man who does everything right and still loses. No one warns you that the ladder might be leaning against the wrong wall, that the life you built might not survive its first real storm. You were sold the illusion that stability is earned, that if you play by the rules, life will reward you with certainty. But life doesn't deal in certainty, it deals in reality. And here's the truth. No one prints on billboards. Everything you build can be taken. Your job, your health, your family, your future. The Stoics didn't run from this truth. They built their strength upon it. Epictetus said, "You are a little soul carrying around a corpse, not to depress you, but to wake you up. You are not untouchable. You are not owed anything." And strangely, that's where your freedom begins, because once the lie dies, you stop playing someone else's game and start living from what's real. Loss strips away more than comfort. It shatters identity. You didn't just lose a paycheck. You lost who you thought you were. The man in the office, the man with the answers, the man she looked up to. But now that suit hangs in a closet. No one opens. That phone doesn't ring. And the respect, it's quieter now. So who are you without all that? Most men never ask this question. They spend their entire lives performing roles: husband, executive, provider, protector. And then, one day, one role disappears and they vanish with it. But here's the truth that cuts deeper than the loss. You were never that job, that title, that role. You were the soul behind it, the force that showed up every day, the presence that made it real. Your worth didn't begin with a business card, and it doesn't end when the world forgets your name. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So now, without the mask, without the armor, you're not less of a man. You're finally face to face with the real one. After the collapse, there's a strange kind of quiet, not the silence of peace, but of absence. No meetings to rush to, no voices to please, no identity to protect, just stillness. At first, it feels like death, like you've fallen out of the world. But if you sit with it long enough, something unexpected happens. The fear softens, the noise fades, and beneath all the rubble, a faint pulse, still alive. The Stoics didn't fear stillness, they revered it. Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled an empire, wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." They understood what we forget. Stillness isn't a void. It's a forge. It's where illusions burn away and clarity takes shape. This is where the rebuilding begins, not with a plan, but with presence, not with ambition, but with awareness. What's the shape of your thoughts now that the world's expectations are gone? What values rise to the surface when no one's watching? Stillness reveals not what you've lost, but what you can no longer lie about. When everything is stripped away, you begin to see what was never yours to begin with. The income, temporary. The house, borrowed. The approval of others, a mirage that vanishes the moment you fall. But something remained. The courage to wake up today, the discipline to endure, the quiet strength that didn't leave when everyone else did. Seneca once wrote, "No man loses anything except what he has, and a man cannot lose what he never truly possessed." What they took was outside. What endures, is within. Your integrity, your ability to choose how to respond, your character in the face of loss. These are not small things. They are the foundation of everything meaningful. When the world took your comfort, did it take your ability to speak truth? When it took your position, did it take your capacity for kindness? When it took your future, did it take your honor? No, because those things at the core of who you are cannot be taken. They can only be surrendered, and you haven't surrendered. Not yet. Most people, when they lose everything, try to rebuild what they had. Same goals, same habits, same illusions. But you're not here to rewind. You're here to rise, because after everything you've seen, you can't go back to pretending. Pretending that success means peace. Pretending that approval means love. Pretending that busyness means purpose. No. Now you know better. The Stoics believed that no man steps in the same river twice, because he is not the same man, and it is not the same river. You are not who you were. You are quieter now, stronger but softer, more aware of the cost of pretending, and more willing to pay the price for truth. So start again. But this time, from the inside out. Choose work that means something, not just pays something. Choose relationships that build, not just distract. Choose stillness before noise, virtue before image, substance before speed. This is your second life. Don't waste it trying to resurrect the first. The world sees what you lost, but I see something else. A man who stood in the fire and didn't run. A man who buried his old life with his own hands and didn't break. That isn't failure. That's transformation. Epictetus was born a slave. He had nothing, but he said, "Circumstances don't make the man. They only reveal him to himself." So what did your loss reveal? That under the anger, there was honesty. Under the fear, courage. Under the ashes, a fire that didn't die. You didn't just survive, you were reforged. You know now what most men never will, that a man's value isn't in what he keeps, but in what he can lose, and still remain whole. This world doesn't need more perfect men. It needs men who have faced ruin and chose to rise, not cleaner but truer. You are not broken, you are burned clean, and what remains is steel. You came here with nothing, not because you never had anything, but because life in its harshness cleared the table, and now all that remains is you. No roles, no masks, no applause. Just the man, bare, breathing, broken open, but still here. And that is everything. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look." You don't need to escape this moment. You don't need to fix it. You only need to face it and let it forge you. You're not rebuilding a life. You're reclaiming your soul, so don't run, don't numb, don't distract, just breathe and begin. If this message spoke to something buried deep inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a brother who's in his own quiet war. And if you found something here worth returning to, subscribe, not for noise, not for content, but for reminders of who you are when everything else falls away. Because this isn't just a channel. It's a place for men who've lost everything, except their will to rise.